I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into a powerful guide to self-discovery, healing, and transformation. The name of the book, Activation Codes for Full Authenticity and Power. It's written by a terrific author. Her name is Jill Nypower, and in the book, she shares her deeply personal journey of breaking free from self-doubt, societal conditioning, and limiting beliefs. If you're ready to reclaim your own personal power, embrace authenticity, and live life on your own terms, this is a book, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app streaming at Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Jill, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. Your book is great. It's so empowering. What do you think some of the common limiting beliefs are that people suffer from and hold them back?
I think we get stuck in mindsets, like I can't do this, or I shouldn't do this, or I won't be able to do this. And instead we have to say, no, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I will do this. And I am this. And so for me, it was really about changing the tapes in my head from the conditioned programming of you have to be this way, you have to do this, you have to conform, you have to, be quiet, you have to keep your voice down, like I wasn't allowed to really have boundaries. I didn't really know what they were. And, I was always putting other people on pedestals and giving my power away.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, like, for a long time, like I had this big energy, but it was like I was being dimmed. Like I was like, it was like I was being really positive and happy and honest, but people didn't really, it was a lot. And some people didn't want to change, and they would have like negative, like belittling or be bullied a little bit or be made wrong. And so like that got in my head, right? And so I started to not feel so great about myself. And so my journey has been really about self-love and gaining my power back and loving myself, loving God, putting him on the pedestal, and then allowing the right people to come into my energy that can match my energy, that can pour back into me, because I was giving, and I was pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I had when I started out in broadcast news at CBS, did an internship, got hired, and I never thought I was old enough. I always viewed myself as a kid. And then I realized that people who had the positions that I wanted were my age, or in some cases even younger. So that can be, your limiting beliefs are anything that holds you back. If you believe you're not old enough, you're not. If you believe you're too old, you are. If you believe you're too tall or too thin or too fat, the twos this or twos that, they're endless. There's always a reason not to do it and why you can't do it. You got to find the reasons why you can do it, right?
Yes. And, meditation helped me a lot too. Like going within, I was taught to look outside of myself, but that never worked. I was always stuck. I was always at a certain frequency and I couldn't elevate. I was always being pulled down. And so I learned to meditate, and I started to listen to what Jesus said, practice the single eye, go within, bring that energy up to the right side, go above thought, and expand my consciousness. And so I just started to do a lot of that. Instead of what man said about me, I started to believe what Jesus said about me. I'll go before you and fight your battles for you, and be still and know that I am God, and greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And I started to repeat these things to get in my spirit, and it just really empowered me and lifted me up from the inside, so I could finally branch out and kind of get away from the old programming.
That's wonderful. Yeah, rewriting those scripts that are pre-programmed into our heads is an important thing, whether you call them scripts or tapes or whatever. You can take a swig of vodka if you want. Don't worry. I saw a water bottle.
I was like, oh, I'm most slow paced.
No, sure. We keep scotch under the desk here, so don't worry. Your book emphasizes energy shifts and releasing negative energy. Talk to us a little bit and explain how the process works.
It's your environment. You're a product of your environment. See, when I go outside and I walk in nature, it's like I'm a battery and I get filled up because I'm plugged in. I'm connected to the bigger part of me. And, certain individuals maybe that aren't looking after themselves or are stuck in self-doubt and harmful to their bodies and to other people can pull you down. It can be heavy energy. It's not as light. And the healthier I eat and the more I exercise, it elevates me. It allows me to keep my mind clear and to focus on, helping people, lifting people up, inspiring people, making a difference. But if I'm in an environment where people are always saying you're never going to be anything, and they're limited in their thoughts because they're not allowing themselves to change or look at things a different way, like by seeing from different perspectives, you only know what you know, right? And so I started to learn and study, and I even studied some of the 1% people, that were, and everyone was going right, I was going left, because I was like, no, my spirit tells me to go this way. And I just took it upon myself I was going to be determined. And no matter how many times I got knocked down, I kept getting up and I kept getting up. But the biggest part was the environment, getting away from people that didn't believe. If I was telling my dreams to people, they were just knocking it down, and so no matter what good things I was putting in my brain, if I was around these people, they were putting bad stuff. And so, it was like that battle in your mind. So until I could separate myself, right, and then find out what was my energy, what was theirs, and then really put that good stuff in my brain, then it was able to kind of take over consciously and subconsciously.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to believe you can do it. The others around you need to believe you can do it. And you can't be undermined by the naysayers. It's so easy to say, no, you'll never have this. No, you'll never accomplish this. No, you'll never be that. It's so easy to be a critic and a naysayer. Avoid them. And they're all over. If you go to work, the boss is an idiot. This one's a jerk. She doesn't know what she's doing. There's negativity everywhere. But if you surround yourself with positive people, you're going to have a positive outcome, don't you think?
Yes. And really focusing on what does work and not what doesn't work. And that's a big thing as well, right?
Yeah.
And other people that believe in themselves.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Spirituality plays a role in personal empowerment. Talk to us a little bit about how it's helped you and how you think it can help others.
Well, just as we feed our body, healthy food, we need to feed our spirit. And by feeding our spirit is like I started to read the scriptures. Like I'm not religious. I don't really believe in religion, but I really believe in the way Jesus taught, because he showed us the way. And so I followed his teachings, and I would put those good things in my brain. Like, I've given you a spirit of peace and of a sound mind, not of a spirit of fear. And I started to put those, his plans are to prosper me, to give me life more abundantly. And so I started to, allow myself to think differently, to expand my awareness, to take courses on things that help me to grow, because I'm either expanding or I'm shrinking. I'm either learning or I'm dying, pretty much. So, I want to be growing and expanding and elevating and taking territory. And in order to do that, I have to keep balance. So I have to stay grounded. I have to stay connected. I have to make sure that my carnal mind is not taking over me, but that I'm also feeding my spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. If you're not growing, you're dying. I mean, if you had a plant in the yard that wasn't getting any bigger, its leaves weren't multiplying, you'd say that plant's dying. So the same thing's true with our mind and our horizons and our boundaries, is we have to keep on pushing them. We have to keep on growing. We have to keep on expanding. I understand you've got a new book out called Being Unapologetically You. You got a copy there that you could hold up for us?
Actually, I have 3 books.
You've got 3 books. Okay, there you have
Healing Codes to Enlightenment. Then I have my activation codes. And then my newest book is Being Unapologetically You. It took me a long time to allow myself to speak and to give myself a voice. And I wanted to give other people permission to speak their voice, to speak their truth. Because when you speak your truth, you're allowing whatever was buried to come up and be released. And then you're free of it. Too much, we suppress our feelings, or we run away with it, or we hide it behind, eating or substances or, whatever. But if we can feel the feelings as they come up, they can just flow right through us and they don't get stuck to us, right? Because if we don't, if they get stuck to us, we can't elevate, because then we're being heavy carried down. So it's really about a blueprint of how I was able to elevate, get out of my mind, create those boundaries, and live the life that I choose, so you can live the life you choose.
Exactly. I think when you're comfortable in your own skin, other people will be comfortable around you, don't you think?
You have to look in the mirror and love yourself. Like, I love who I am. Like, I know I'm not perfect. I have faults and I have great talents, but I'm me. And I want to be authentic. I want to be the real me. And I don't want to put on a mask and be something I'm not. That's exhausting. I wouldn't want to be that way. So I want other people to be them, because we all have different talents and gifts to share, so we can learn and grow and come together and love. And that's what I'm all about.
Absolutely. And along those lines, you're a life coach as well. Tell us a little bit about your work there.
A little bit of a content creator as well. So I am close to God. I have my own spiritual practices, where I pray and I, do my walks, and I get kind of messages, like ideas and thoughts, and I share them as they come up. And then, when I feel inspired to share something maybe about that happened in my life that I learned from, because I took everything that bad that happened to me and I took it as a lesson, and I took the good out of it, because there's always a positive that you can find in a negative. And if you can have that mindset and be grateful for what you do have, then you'll find more things to be grateful for, because our mind is so powerful that way.
Absolutely. And people can learn more about you and your work and your content creation on your website, JillNypower.com, right?
Yes, correct. And also I am on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And then you can email me if you want personal coaching at JillNypower@gmail.com.
Okay, awesome. That's easy to remember, your name at gmail.com. That's great. What do you hope readers take away from your books? What do you hope changes in their life? What do you hope, or how do you hope it empowers them?
My intention is to elevate people, to activate their mind, to expand it, to see the world differently, to allow themselves the chance to believe in themselves, to not have regrets, to go after their dreams. Because if someone from me can come from the bottom up, then you can do it too. And I want them to be inspired. I want them to feel free. I want them to know that they're born abundant and that they have the ability to do whatever that they want, and to have the right people around them to help them, to support them to do that. And so my books really show you the way how to free yourself of those limiting mindsets, to see from a different perspective, to pick your energy up, to change your patterns and your cycles, so you can live the life that you choose and not what someone else tells you to, by writing it out, speaking it out loud, and being it. Do, be, have.
Wonderful. Do, be, have. Great advice. Great books, very empowering. The name of the book we focus on primarily today is Activation Codes for Full Authenticity and Power. It's written by Jill Nypower. In it, she shares her deeply personal journey of breaking free from self-doubt, societal conditioning, and limiting beliefs. If you're ready to reclaim your own personal power and embrace your own authentic self, these books are for you. They're available at JillNypower.com. You can learn more about her coaching services, and about her content creation as well. Jill, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
and to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.
I look forward to it. Thank you.